Hello, dust-free army builders. I got this box from Amazon today. And in it is a Odoxia dust-free container for storing your miniatures. And if you get one of these, which I highly recommend because I love them, you will find that there are no instructions inside. It wants you to go to a link, and I didn't really want to do that. But because I'm mechanically inclined, not only was I able to figure it out on my own, but I'm able to make a video to help you to put yours together. One additional thing you need is a good screwdriver. This one is a Husky from Home Depot. Phillips number 2. $40 and it came incredibly fast. I rated them as above and beyond the Call of Duty because I ordered it last night and it came early this morning. So you can't complain about that, right? So I'll get it opened up. It comes with this screwdriver, and I'll use it for assembling the box part, but putting the handle on, since you have to actually, since it doesn't have pre-drilled holes, you can either pre-drill the holes and then use the screwdriver they have, or you can just manhandle it like I do and get yourself a good screwdriver that can actually force the screws through the wood. Now, it looks like it's pre-drilled, but it isn't, because if you look down there deeper, you probably can't see it on the camera. If you look down there deeper, it ends after about 1 millimeter. So that's the top. And then I got to figure out, that would be the back, because the plexiglass comes up, the acrylic comes up over it. And then figure out how it lines up to figure out which side is the bottom. See, the holes line up well like that. They shouldn't line up like this. Yeah, they don't, see. So the box won't be square if you do it. So that's how you tell. Go ahead and run the video back if you didn't follow that. This is the edge that the acrylic panel goes in, and this is the edge that holds this back part right here. So that will be assembled like that. Right? Okay. Save this till last. This is a protected piece of plexiglass or acrylic, covered over with easy to remove paper that's stuck to it, and that protects it. Okay, let's figure out which side goes to which. Pretty easy, because it will have the holes drilled in the right place. So like that. Oh, and the way to tell too is it'll have these little places for the tray to slide in the front. Now we got to make sure that the screws go all the way through. Oh, and here's another way you can tell which side. It'll be open completely on the top. So I know that the screws are going to line up because it's open completely on the top on both sides, on the front. Now, if they were reversed, then it would be open on the bottom rather than on the top. So I know these screws are going to go in really super easy. This part fits like this. And that's your box right there. You want your brass colored screws, and then you just want to put them in. Do not tighten them all the way. Whenever I build anything, I like to go cross corners and then slowly tighten them a little bit at a time. If you got something not quite right, they won't go in this deep. I'm doing it like a machine would do it, where it's tightening two screws a little bit at the same time. Helps to be ambidextrous to do that. Now I'm doing the same thing on the bottom. I am going to put one in on the right front, our right front, and one on the left back. I'm just going to screw them in a little bit. And then I'm going to put left front, our left front, and our right back. And I'm going to screw them in a little bit. Just with my fingers. And then I'm going to put the two middle ones in. And then I'm going to go with the chintzy little screwdriver that it comes with. And I'm just going to tighten them a little bit at a time. Top. Top right, left back. Back right, front left. I'm just tightening them a little bit at a time. You can see how tight they are. And then that. If you tighten one of them all the ways, when you get to your last screw, it won't go in. Same thing when you're assembling a motor on a car. You go through the pattern that's shown in the manual. Okay, I did left back a little bit tight, right front a little bit tight, right back a little bit tight. I'm not putting it all the way in. I'm going in this pattern crossways, just like when you're assembling a motor. Assembling a motor, that's called a torque sequence. Torque is the circular pressure applied to the screw with the screwdriver. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this one almost all the way up, right top front, left top rear, right top front. And then the two middle ones. I'm still not tightening these all the way. May seem like a hassle, but a little bit at a time. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom and do the same thing. I'm going to tighten the right front almost all the way, left rear almost all the way, right rear almost all the way, left front almost all the way. And then I'm going to do the two middle ones, right middle almost all the way, left middle all the way. Now I'm finally ready to torque them all the way. So I will tighten this one. I will tighten this one. Top left front, back. I mixed up my right and left. Okay, so they're mostly tight, and then I'm going to get these mostly tight, and then I'll come through and give them another crank. Following the pattern still. It's easier to get the bottom ones if you kind of lift it up. Okay, now I'm going to do this one all the way tight. Okay, all the way tight. It's not binding, so it's good. All the way tight. All the way tight in this nice torque sequence. All the way tight. For taking your time like this, you'll get something nice and square. And not only is this true for this box, but any furniture that you put together, this is true that you want to tighten it a little bit at a time, and you want to go kind of across. Okay, that is pretty tight. Pretty tight. Tight, pretty tight, pretty tight, pretty darn tight. All right, now I'm going to put the piece of plexiglass in there. Peel that off. I don't have any fingernails. Peel that off. And when I handle this, I like to only put my fingerprints on the top. So I try to set it down with this part down so I don't get any fingerprints on it. Now making the video, I might have gotten fingerprints. I always have one extra screw. Okay, and then these things have to go like this. Make sure that you have the grooves on the bottom. And then this fits in there. Let's see if I can tilt this enough to where you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to line up these screws. They won't go in, so I'm kind of holding it. They're just sitting there and gravity's kind of holding them in. Because the holes are not pre-drilled. This is where you can put away the screwdriver that they gave you and save it for something else. It'll work fine for that. It just won't work for this particular thing. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to tighten this one a little bit. And I'm manhandling it in there. And then I'm going to tighten this one a little bit. Going across. And if you don't want to manhandle it, just pre-drill the holes. What you do is you pick a drill that's the size of the shank, which is the screw without the threads. That's your drill size. Just hold your drill up to it. Make sure it matches up. Helps I'm ambidextrous. So don't be surprised if you're not ambidextrous if this assembly doesn't go as fast as mine did. There's what's called the flat rate manual, which is how mechanics charge you the number of hours that they work on your car. And as an auto mechanic, I always beat that. Okay, again, not quite tight. Okay, not quite tight. Not quite tight. And then tight. Tight. Tight, tight. I'm just going until the head is just barely below the handle, and then I'm going to go really tight. Now that it's really close. Tight. And I always put my hand on the bottom when I'm carrying this full of magnetized models, which are quite heavy. And then you have your nice little space. And then there's plastic coating over the trays. You can leave it on or you can take it off. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to remember that I only handled the top. The away from me part. That way near the top, like in my dust-free video. Then I'll count down like 2. Count down 2 more. Put it on the third one. Put one on the bottom. Put one in the middle. voila. You got a nice little miniatures case for $40. Now these, I was hoping that these would stack, but because the handle's raised up over the top here, to get these to stack, you need to lay a piece of wood or something. Even like you could save this styrofoam, and then it would allow for the handle, and you could put a couple of these on top of each other, right? It's too bad that they didn't recess the bottom where the handle goes so that these would stack up. In fact, I even think in the description of it, it said they would stack, but they really don't. But you can put anything in here, strip of wood or anything like that, to actually get them to stack. Thank you, hobbyists.